Hi, gorgeous. Let's talk about rich thinking versus poor thinking. This is really important because the difference between rich and poor really starts in the way that you think. So in this video, I'm going to give you some examples of poor thinking, including some you may not even be aware of. And I'm also going to share with you a really simple tip to help you get out of any poor people habits of thinking so that you can start making the change and make rich thinking your normal. For all things money and mindset, to help you build an aligned and abundant business so you never worry about money again, be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell. At my workshops and in my program, I usually give people a long list of poverty thoughts, examples of poor thinking. And I ask them to make a note of how many of those they believe, have ever thought, or even have told others were true. And you know what? Most people tick between 80 and 90% of the 50 different limiting negative poverty thoughts, examples of poor thinking on that list. When you consider that we think up to 80,000 thoughts a day, and most of them, like 95% of them, are totally unconscious, it's a bit of a worry when you start to realize what kind of poor thinking is actually swarming around in there. And as a trained hypnotherapist, I've got to say I'm really, really aware of just how much we constantly hypnotize ourselves and how much the world around us is constantly looking to hypnotize us. So your job, my job, our job is to be really selective and aware of what we are thinking and to choose selectively what kind of thoughts we allow in there in the first place consciously before they start becoming unconscious habits of thought. Now, I do have another video which takes you to the next level of scarcity mindset versus abundance mindset. It's this one here. But before we go to that, let's start talking about the level of thought, because to be honest, that's actually where you catch things early on. That's where you can become aware of your thoughts, start to notice them, and really start to do something about that poor thinking. And it's so critical that we catch this negative thinking, this poor thinking early, because if you don't, you really risk hypnotizing yourself into poverty, because thoughts that you keep thinking over and over again, they become unconscious patterns in your nervous system. They become beliefs, and then your beliefs all add up to make up your mindset. And all of that will build momentum. You end up getting what you expect. You always get what you expect. That is the net outcome of law of attraction. All of these thoughts that are swirling around that are on that same vibrational frequency, becoming unconscious belief systems, so you don't even realize you're thinking them. They're constantly spinning and emitting a signal, and then the world will mirror that back to you. So let's have a look at some really common examples of poor thinking, and I want you to have a look and see how many of these you identify with, whether you've heard them or have said them or believe them maybe in exactly the way I'm saying them, or some version thereof. Or maybe it's something your parents said or is really similar to something your parents said, the message being the same that you heard growing up. We're just going to cover 12. Let's see how we go. It takes money to make money. Must be nice to be rich. Rich people are bastards. Money doesn't grow on trees, you know. The rich get richer and the poor get poorer. I'm not made of money, you know. Money is the root of all evil. No pain, no gain. The only way you'll get anywhere is through hard work. You can't always get what you want. Life's not meant to be fair. Life's a bitch, and then you die. Let me know in the comments which one of those examples of poor thinking really hits home for you. Okay, now let's look at a list of examples of rich thinking. The universe always has my back. There is an unlimited supply of abundance available to me. Opportunities are everywhere. I'm constantly attracting all the right people. I have so much value to offer. I love how people really appreciate my skills and talents. My money grows while I sleep. I'm a really good custodian of my money. See how much more empowering these are? The thing is, it's not about cliched sounding beliefs, because rich thinking versus poor thinking actually happens in all the little moments in life. What happens when something breaks? What happens when you get an unexpected big bill coming in? What happens when someone doesn't pay you back or a client cancels? What are your default thoughts? So just imagine for a moment that a friend asks you to catch up for dinner. But the thing is, they're the kind of friend that always wants to go to the most expensive restaurants and order pretty much everything on the menu, including a really lovely, expensive bottle of wine, and then expects you to just go halves. What are your thoughts when that friend calls and suggests catching up? How do you feel about it? And see, the thing is that rich thinking, it's not about blowing the budget, but it's about having the kinds of thoughts that demonstrate that you expect to live an abundant life. So we want to stop and interrupt that negative momentum from building, because if it builds too much momentum, number one, you're hypnotizing yourself even more into a poverty consciousness. And number two, you're going to start to emanate a stronger and more consistent signal of there's not enough, people take advantage, my money seems to just flow out, I'm not in control, and all of that stuff. And that signal will cause the universe to echo something similar back to you. It will bring you things that reflect that. So we want to put a stop to that negative thought process as early as possible, which means number one, you need to pay attention. You need to be aware. And then you need to be able to interrupt that pattern. And we're going to do it using exactly that, using a pattern interrupt. Now, let me just quickly explain before we go through a demo that a pattern interrupt taps into the way your mind naturally works. You see, willpower doesn't work. If you say to yourself, oh no, I'm not going to have those negative thoughts, I'm not going to think about how that always makes me stress about money and think about that my phone bill is due tomorrow and I may have blown it all on a really expensive dinner, blah, 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 blah. If you tell yourself that you're not going to think about something, it's like telling yourself not to think about a pink elephant. Because if I tell you not to think about a pink elephant, because whatever you do, the pink elephant is really not going to help our situation right here, right now. So please do not think about the pink elephant. Just take that pink elephant right out of your mind. Thank you very much. All you're thinking about is the pink elephant, right? So willpower doesn't work. It works for a little while, but then it's a ticking time bomb, because what it does is it creates all this buildup and resistance where unconsciously you're saying, but I want to, but I really want to, I really, really, really want to. If you've ever tried to use willpower to stop smoking, to stop overeating, any habit really, you'll know that it works for a little while, but then it usually ends badly. So willpower doesn't work because of the way your mind works. But a pattern interrupt absolutely works because it takes advantage of the way your mind works. So you've got this conscious mind, your thinking mind, and that's pretty clever and a useful little tool. And then you have the unconscious mind, which is this amazing, amazing supercomputer that processes billions of bits of information per second. So it's kind of like having a shovel or a spade, useful, does a good job, and a supercomputer. And your supercomputer is really used to waiting for your conscious mind to catch up. So instead of saying, no, 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 I'm not going to have all those negative thoughts because they have repercussions, instead of saying no, you say, in a minute. Just give me a minute because I'm a bit slow. I need some time. And your unconscious mind will not rebel at that. It's used to waiting. So a pattern interrupt is exactly that. You say, in a minute, and then you distract yourself for at least 2 minutes. Go and do something totally different. Scroll Facebook or Instagram. That'll usually keep you busy for 15 to 20 minutes, right? So the pattern interrupt is about delaying and distracting. So in a minute, go do something else for 2 minutes. And what that does is it weakens that neural pathway, that automatic worry cycle that wants to kick in straight away. It weakens that. So it doesn't automatically kick in as hard next time. And you'll need to do it a few times over and over. But the really great news is that after those 2 minutes, Even if you go back and you do the worrying thing, you've still weakened that automatic pattern in your nervous system. So a pattern interrupt, delaying, distracting, 2 minutes, that's all you need to do to really start to weaken those old habits of poor thinking. How cool is that? It's not really that difficult to break down these old habits and start creating the changes you want. What you need is some self-awareness, someone to hold up a mirror, and then to have a handy little tool that you can easily use. That's all it takes. So you're starting to realize that you really do have some consistent patterns of poor thinking going on. Well, it's time to break that cycle. And the good news is that you're absolutely ready. You wouldn't be here watching this video, doing the research, finding tools and starting to become aware if you weren't ready for the next step. So now it's just a matter of really building on that awareness, making sure you have some really useful tools and that you know how to use them. So anytime you spot yourself, succumbing to that negative thinking, you can pull out those tools, put an end to that pattern and turn things around. Now, to help you with that, I've actually developed a little system that is super simple and easy for you to use over and over and over again. It's what I personally use. It's what I use with my VIPs, and it's what I've developed based on years and years of experience. So with the Money Blockbuster system, you get to sit down anytime you catch yourself in a bit of a cycle of negative thinking. It helps you quickly identify what that limiting belief is that is causing it and clear it. It even comes with hypnosis and invitations to join regular group coaching sessions with me, which are totally live. So you come on a call with me and we actually workshop a real live issue that's going on for you or for somebody else and use the system to break it down and transform it. So if you want to check that out, just follow the link in the description and grab yourself the Money Blockbuster system. Okay, that's it for today. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, subscribe, and share it with your friends. And be sure to share all your light bulb moments and questions with me in the comments below. If you have any requests of anything in particular you'd like me to do a video about, let me know in the comments. I'm really happy to take your requests. Okay, until I see you next time, remember that it's time to embrace your unlimited potential and you're absolutely ready to take that next step. Bye for now.